So we did get two new episodes of Bel-Air, and I'm gonna sound off on something that was kind of like itching at me while I was watching these two episodes, but I'm just gonna briefly talk about them, not gonna give full in-depth thoughts on them, but just a highlight on what I just saw. What I love, at least, I mean, not just this season, but just with these two episodes, it reminds us of the brotherhood that Will and Carlton have, whether it's going to that party, going to that foundation that Leroy Carter, aka Snoop Dogg, is running, and even just their decisions on college and what they want to do, and realizing, oh, I don't know how I feel about this, and also just working on Uncle Phil's Mustang and everything. You see the brotherhood between them, and I can always appreciate when shows do that, especially when they also are still paying homage to the original show, just like when they were at the party and dancing to Apache. That made me have a smile on my face just because I remember that moment in the show, and I know fans of the show do remember that. And it makes me wonder, if you're watching this, have you never seen the sitcom? I'm curious if this is your first exposure to this whole Fresh Prince of Bel Air universe, if that's what we're gonna call it. Poor Aunt Viv, she's going through all the drama with, not just her work life, but then also running into Erica at the yoga. At least that's what I think it is. My bad, y'all. And another thing that was just crazy when it ended, the last episode, episode 5, that is, her going into labor and Uncle Phil just not answering the phone for whatever reason. I get it, he was caught up in the moment with Will and Carlton, but it's like, yo, you about to have baby Nikki. Let's not be shocked. That's what the kid's name is going to be. Also, let me give a salute to Jazz because he's kind of, if you ask me, and maybe I'm saying too much, but he's living my dream and fantasy. And that is him hooking up with Pamela Gordon. And that was a trip that he didn't know she was married, but hey, he still got his. So yeah, one day. Thoughts are still the same on when it comes to Jeffrey. I don't really care that much. I'm invested, still watching, like I said last week, but I don't know, y'all. I just feel like that kind of is like a subsection of the show where it's like, well, we have to make sure Jeffrey gets some shine. So it makes sense, but it's just kind of like, man, I would rather see what's going on with the rest of the family. And speaking of the rest of the family, I get it. Hillary is still in mourning and in Costa Rica and everything, but here's what I thought about, and it is just a theory of mine. You don't have to agree with me or believe me, but just hear me out. Obviously, Coco Jones has not been in this season as often as she once was, let alone the rest of the characters. And then it dawned on me, I'm like, she did put out her album this year, and I'm sure when they were filming this season of the show, she was busy recording, probably working with other artists for the features. She also put out the deluxe. She was working on music videos. I don't know if she went on tour. If y'all are fans, you could let me know. And also just getting whatever else prepped for her music that she couldn't exactly be on set. So it's smart for the writers to do that, but I did notice her absence, just like I'm noticing Ashley's absence. I get it, she's a teen actor and everything, but then again, she's never really been a focal point of the show. But I do wonder what would happen if, she just got as much screen time as Will, Carlton, Phil, Aunt Viv, and Jeffrey. But yeah, y'all, those are just my quick thoughts on these episodes. And I'm curious how it's going to end with the last three episodes next week. I thought for the longest we would get three episodes today, but no, we just got two. But so I'm excited to see how this show is going to conclude, and I'm curious what you think will happen. So, whatever you think, let me know in the comments. Let's discuss. And as always, just let me know.